I know it's very easy to fall in love with a place while you're traveling, but Australia, you're making it so hard for me to not pick you for my second home in the future. Oh boy, the scenery here is just absolutely beautiful. The quality of life here is second to none. Oh man, I'm just trying to take it all in, one day at a time. Hello folks, Mr. Technoman here. Originally, I wasn't gonna make this video because I've already been back from Australia for like 2 months now, and I've already made a ton of videos about Australia already. But this country was just so fascinating for me. It was my first time going there. I was treated extremely well. Everything went well, like the food was fantastic, the people were friendly, very beautiful architecture and scenery and landscapes, and it's a very safe country. So there's nothing that I wouldn't like about Australia. So everything I've wanted to say about Australia, I probably already said in another video already. And I'm looking to visit Australia over and over again. I'm making this video for someone who's never been to Australia before. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 things you should definitely know about Australia before you visit for the first time. And before I get into these things, there's a couple things I want to mention about Australia, so that you get a better perspective before you land in Australia. And I know a lot of people put off going to Australia, such as myself. I put it off for so many years. Why? Because I've had some misconceptions about Australia. Number one, I just thought that it's just like another version of America or Canada, way out in the middle of nowhere, that's really hard to reach. I mean, no matter if you're coming from Asia, from Europe, from the Americas, or Africa, Middle East, anywhere pretty much, except for New Zealand. Australia is going to be a really long flight, an expensive one too. So that is why I put it off for so long. And after having been to Australia, yes, I regret having put it off for so long. I mean, no matter how much time or how much money you have to spend to fly there, to get there, it's definitely worth it. And you should stay for at least 2 weeks. 1 week is too short for Australia, a country this massive, with so much to do and so much to see. 1 week, you're barely scratching the surface. So if you got the vacation days, at least 2 weeks. A month would be better if you can. So in my personal opinion, Australia is as safe as Finland. So Finland, basically, you can walk outside day and night all by yourself and you will feel completely safe. Throughout Australia, it's pretty much like that as well. Now, there might be some shady neighborhoods in certain cities in Australia, but I did not experience that at all while I was traveling in Melbourne, Sydney, Gold Coast, or Brisbane. And we walked throughout as much of the city as possible. During our 2 weeks in Australia, in these 4 locations, we feel completely safe. On a side note, it seems like Australia is really safe. We're walking out here at night. We feel completely fine, completely safe, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
as a woman, yes.
Yeah, we see other people, like a lot of women walking alone by themselves. Yeah. The second comparison about Australia to Europe, I would say Australia has British level architecture. So you're gonna see a lot of like Victorian style, old British architecture. A lot of pubs, a lot of arcades like you would see in London, things like that, especially in Melbourne. Australia has some of the best cuisines in the world. Now, I'm not saying Australian food in general, because a lot of people don't know what Australian food is. A lot of Australians don't even know what it is. But I mean the food in Australia, because Australia is such a fantastic melting pot. It's got food from all over the world. And they make everything so good. Oh my god, I don't know how they do it. All these people that bring food from their own cultures and their own countries, they make it exactly like they would make at home. But throughout my time living in like China, in Japan, traveling in Korea, other parts in Asia, even some parts in Europe, I found out that the food that's not like ethnic or where the origin's not from there, it just doesn't taste the same. Like for example, in Japan, I don't want to eat Indian food. I don't want to eat Italian food. It doesn't taste how it's supposed to taste. It was the same in China. And in Europe, I don't want to eat Thai food. I don't want to eat Vietnamese food or Ethiopian food, for example. I'm not saying like the restaurants everywhere in Europe is not authentic, but a lot of it is. It's the same in Asia. But in Australia, I've tried everything and they all taste like how they're supposed to taste. Spot on. and sometimes even better than the country of origin. For example, the mala hot pot I had in Melbourne is the best mala hot pot I've had anywhere, even in China. I mean, certainly it was more expensive than it would cost in China, but it was more delicious because they used better ingredients. So what I want to say about that is Australia is like French level cuisine. Like within Europe, if I were to pick one country that has the best food, it would definitely be France. Also, there are many gorgeous beaches in Australia as well. Many fantastic places to relax and get some sun, just like there are in Italy and Greece. These things that I mentioned alone should convince you to visit Australia already. Now, let's get into the 5 things that I personally think you should know before you visit Australia. And some of these I probably kind of mentioned already, so there's going to be some overlap. So first of all, let's talk about safetyness. So unfortunately, for a lot of Western countries, whether it's America, Canada, a lot of Western European countries, and a few Eastern European countries, they're not as safe as they used to be, and especially for a traveler like me. A lot of times for Asian traveler, because Asian travelers, we get pickpocketed a lot. I mean, we get targeted for pickpocketing because a lot of the times we're perceived to have more money because Asians do like, I don't know, the majority of the shopping in places like Europe. But also Asians on average are generally smaller in size, especially the women. So I guess that's another reason that we get pickpocketed a lot. And also because of how we look, it's pretty obvious that we're not from there. But in Australia, this wasn't an issue at all. Australia was completely safe from pickpockets, from violent crimes, and everything for tourists. I mean, if you live there, maybe there's a few spots that you might feel unsafe or you might have a different opinion. But from a tourist perspective, from an Asian tourist, Australia is completely safe. And also, Australia has like the higher percentage of Asians living there than any other Western country. So maybe that's another reason why it's safe for Asians. Also, in terms of safetyness, the homeless people in Australia, they keep to themselves. I never saw any homeless person come up to anybody to beg them for money or to bother them in any way, or shout or get angry at somebody. But like in other countries I've been, like for example in China or in certain parts of Eastern Europe, if you're sitting in a restaurant, like sitting outside and eating, homeless person will come up to you and a lot of times they'll touch you to try to get money from you while you're eating. It's not the most enjoyable experience. In America, in like Amsterdam and certain places in Western Europe, they proactively come up to you to ask you for money. I mean, of course, you can just respectfully say no if you don't want to give them money. That's fine. But sometimes they get upset, they get angry, or they start shouting at you. It's also not a good experience to have. But in Australia, you don't have to worry about this at all. Again, I mean, there's nothing wrong with seeing homeless people. There's bound to be homeless people pretty much any major city around the world. If you're trying to have like a vacation, if you're trying to enjoy time with friends, family, if you're going on a date, yeah, you probably want to be left alone. There are hardly any slums or ghettos in Australia. I think they do a really good job of upkeeping, maintaining buildings and building up new infrastructure there. Because there's very little slums and ghettos, I guess that helps to improve the safety in the cities. Whereas in countries with cities that have lots of ghettos and slums, I guess more crime tend to happen there as a result. Also, there's a lot less slums and ghettos in Australian cities compared to like other parts of the world. And I guess that helps to reduce crime to a certain degree, especially within the city centers. Number 2, in Australia, if you go out dining, you're going to receive like American/Canada level service, which means if the waitstaff's not busy, they're going to smile at you a lot and they're probably going to try to get into small talk with you or vice versa. And that's great. I love that about Australia. When I go out to eat, especially if I go out alone, I want somebody to talk to occasionally. And the waitstaff in Australia, they're very friendly. They're willing to do that, just like they would in America and in Canada. However, in Australia, they don't expect to get a tip from you. They do it because, I don't know, they enjoy it, or it's part of their job, or they just like talking to people. And that's a great experience for me, the consumer. So in Australia, I would say most places, you don't pay a tip. You don't need to pay a tip because they don't expect a tip. And so don't try to tip them. But you can make a few exceptions. For example, so if you go to a fine dining establishment and you get treated very, very well, you can ask them if the tipping is a thing in this venue or not. Never just leave a tip and assume that they'll just take it. You can always ask. Even if it's not a fine dining establishment, if you feel like this person really took care of you, really like gave you a personal experience and made it so enjoyable that you probably remembered them for a long time, yes, I would say it's okay to ask them they're okay to receive a tip or not. And if you do tip somebody, I would say it's probably like 10%. For example, like how it is in Singapore, Hong Kong, UK, or Europe, when they expect a tip from you, it's usually 10%. So I would say it's about the same in Australia. Now, quote me if I'm wrong if you're from Australia. I would not say it's like 20% like it is in the US. Also in Australia, be prepared to eat a lot. The portions are not small, especially if you're coming from Asia. These are European, American sized portions. Be prepared to eat a lot. The food is delicious. The service is wonderful. A lot of venues are like grand, well put together. So it gives you the comfortable feeling that you just want to sit and relax for a while. And also in Australia, what I noticed is that most places serve you tap water, even like the fine dining establishment. Whereas in a lot of other countries, if you go to a fine dining restaurant, they won't serve you tap water. They're going to charge you for bottled water or sparkling water. But in Australia, you always have the option to give free tap water. So you can definitely save money in Australia by getting tap water. Also, tap water throughout the country is consumable. Whether you're in a hotel, you're getting tap water from like a public place or from your Airbnb or apartment, the water is completely safe to drink. So you don't need to go out and buy bottles of water like you would in certain countries. So another thing you should know about Australia. So Australians are perceived to have this easygoing, laid-back attitude. So you think they might be lazy, but actually the opposite is true. These are really diligent, hardworking people. I mean, for the hours that they're supposed to work for you, I think Australians really put in a good attitude and good effort. I mean, you can see that everywhere you go, from like the bus drivers to the people that work in restaurants and cafes, and like the people that work in stores. They don't look like they have the easygoing, laid-back attitude in terms of the work effort, but in terms of the personality and the way they communicate with you, yeah, for sure that's there. So I just don't want you to have the misconception that Australians are lazy. That's certainly not the case. Also, if it's your first time visiting the cities in Australia, my final advice would be to stay inside the city center. They call it the CBD, Central Business District. The hotels and Airbnbs in the CBDs in Australia are a lot more affordable than they are in other Western countries. And also, the CBDs are very walkable. The cities in Australia are very walkable. And also, you have good access to the public transportation, good access to bus, the trams, to metros, and so forth. Also, if you travel in a group, at least two persons or more, I would definitely take an Uber, a taxi, or a DD to and from the airport rather than to buy the express train. Because usually the express train ticket, I mean, it depends on the city, of course, it can go anywhere between 18 to 20 some dollars. But if you're staying in the CBD and you take a DD or a Uber, it's like $30 to $35. For one taxi or Uber DD ride, it's going to be cheaper than to buy two train tickets. Not to mention that if you're also going to have to like later take another tram or subway, it's going to add more cost and also add more time on top of that. You might as well just take a taxi or Uber or DD. I loved Australia. Australia is fantastic. I really enjoy the country. I'm really thinking about living there for a few months out of the year. Maybe I'll start doing that 2 years from now. I'm still trying to decide on which city to live. So I've been to Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and Gold Coast. All are fantastic choices. On my next trip to Australia, I'm looking to go to Adelaide, looking to go to Perth, and also Tasmania. And then I'll probably decide which city we like most. We probably have to visit like Melbourne and Sydney again because we missed a lot of the suburbs there. So from my comment sections, the suburbs are like probably some of the best places to visit and also to eat out, to enjoy life in Australia, and also to visit a couple outbacks. Outbacks are pretty much good places to hang out on the weekend, relax, get away from the busy city life. So we haven't experienced the outback in Australia yet. So in conclusion, Australia is fantastic. You need to visit Australia. If you've already been to Australia, you know that it's such a massive country with so many things to see, so many things to do, that you have to visit more than once just to get a feel for it, just to scratch a little bit beyond the surface. Yeah, and the last thing I would say is having grown up in America, there's nothing wrong with America, but I think I would rather have grown up in Australia. Because Australia, I think overall, it's just a much safer country. It's also like friendlier vibes. Usually you're gonna get pretty decent level service compared to America. I think it's a better place to have a family and to raise kids. I mean, the education level that you would get in both countries more or less the same, but in terms of everything else, it's a better environment for kids. I'm not gonna get into that in this video, obviously. And especially in this day and age, you can make a career completely online or remotely. You don't have to run a business physically inside a country, like hundreds of millions of people or billions of people. You can run a big business nowadays from a small country, maybe an island, maybe a small town. The outbacks in Australia, perhaps, as long as the internet's sustainable and reliable. So there's no need to move to a big country for quote unquote opportunity anymore. And plus, Australia is a first world country. It's a very developed country. It's got everything you need. Why not give Australia a try? Whether just visiting for a couple weeks or try living there for a few months out of the year, like I'm doing. I'm not considering living there full time just yet. I might change in the future. One reason is that Australia has really high taxes. So if I live there more than 6 months out of the year, for example, I'm going to become a tax resident in Australia. And that might not be the best option for me at this point in my life. But who knows? In the future, when I have kids and I want to settle down and I travel less, then maybe I'm willing to take on that burden for the lifestyle. But yeah, while I'm still in my 40s and possibly 50s, I don't think I'll be thinking about living in Australia full time. But we shall see. Last but not least, I want to thank all my viewers from Australia for your wonderful, wonderful support. Most of you have been very, very kind to me, very gracious with your time, with your energy, with your words. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've made my YouTube journey throughout making these Australian videos very enjoyable. And also you help to keep the good memories that I had in Australia with me throughout this whole journey, even though I've been back from Australia for like 2 months already. But you're helping me to keep all the memories fresh. And I really appreciate you. Australian people are fantastic, really good mates. Of course, you're going to get a few bad people from here and there, just like you would in any country. But the vast majority of people, I think, are very kind, are very helpful. And even for the few haters out there, I'm sure they're not that bad in real person. I'm sure some of the stuff they've said to me in my comment section, they wouldn't say to me like if we were to meet in real life. I mean, they might, but I think the likelihood of that is a lot lower. So of course, I don't enjoy reading some of those personal attacks, personal hateful comments. I mean, who does? But they're not bothering me. They're not going to derail me from making videos. I'm not taking them personally. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's something that's going on in their personal life that they're doing this for. I'm sorry if I got something wrong or if I said something to trigger you, but that's not my intention. I mean, I'm coming here from good faith. I'm not here to like bash Australia or bash any part of Australia, anything about Australia. I'm just sharing my personal experiences. And if you're not okay with that, then don't watch my videos. I don't know why you're spending your precious time watching and commenting on my videos if you don't enjoy them, right? I mean, it's common sense, right? Just move on, go watch other people's stuff. Go watch other people's videos. There's a lot of people who made videos about Australia. Anyway, last but not least, I know this video is getting a little long. Thank you guys for watching my Australian videos once again. I really appreciate you. You guys have been the best. You guys have given me so much support. I cannot appreciate you enough. I'm gonna miss you when I go make videos about other countries. But of course, you're more than welcome to watch those other videos and comment on them. And I look forward to making Australian videos again next time I go back to Australia, whether it's a year from now or 2 years from now. Hopefully not 2 years from now, that's a little bit too long. Yeah, and yes, and when I do go to Australia, I look forward to meeting maybe a couple of you. We can go out for a pint, a coffee, or perhaps even dinner. Yeah, I think that would be great. This is also something new to me, meeting subscribers. I haven't done that yet, obviously, because I'm a small channel and I just started my YouTube journey this year, but something I'm open to for sure. Until then, see you guys next time. Bye for now, mate.